WWE announced this morning that they just inked a deal with Netflix for 10 years, $5 billion to air their weekly show Monday. Raw,
Yeah.
which has been around forever and has been homed on USA for a long time. Negotiations have been happening over the last few months. The whole world had known that. I don't think anybody truly expected Netflix to be the team or the home of Raw and live content going forward. This is a massive investment by them. This is a huge win for WWE and for Netflix as WWE continues to grow globally, right? That first W there. Whether it's back whenever you were following, if you're an old WWF or WWE, which it has been for a long time. That first one is world, and they are everywhere. And now Raw will have a home that is very much in promoting a global expansion. This is a big-time win for wrestling. This is a big-time win for WWE. This is a big-time win for Netflix. And we get a chance to chat with Nick Khan, the president of the WWE, here in about 8 minutes to see how it all went down. This man, self-made, okay? Had to go on Wheel of Fortune to win enough money to send himself to law school. Which would propel himself to become a lawyer, which would propel him to be one of the greatest agents to ever exist, which then leads him to being the president of the WWE, who just inked a 10-year, $5 billion deal with Netflix. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of the WWE, Nick Khan.
Yay!
Hey, thanks for having me on. Long-time viewer, first-time caller or presenter, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, we're lucky to have you. Obviously, we know that you're forced to watch some clips every once in a while, so we appreciate that. And you've been an incredible mentor to me and a man that I've been able, like a consigliere, if you will. So I appreciate you mightily, and thank you for taking time on this incredibly busy day, legendary day in the history of the WWE. I just talked about it there, about the Wheel of Fortune run into becoming law school, into lawyer, into agenting, into becoming the president of a Fortune, what are we? Fortune?
Let's say we're Fortune 600, maybe.
Pretty good.
We're
Almost
Yeah,
there.
pretty good. Whenever you're dealing with everything that's happening, okay, because since you got there in 2020, obviously there's been a transition. Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, kind of both stepping back. There's a sale, obviously, to the Endeavor Group. You create TKO. Then you're able to negotiate this $5 billion deal while all of this is happening. What do you think is the reasoning on why you've been able to handle, and you and the WWE have been able to handle the transition so seamlessly, appearingly from the outside looking in?
Well, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, Pat. And by the way, always a pleasure to connect with you, talk to you as friends, consigliere, whatever role you say.
Get to it.
All right, I'll move it along. Thank you. Look, look, one last thing on that. There would be no WWE without Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn. Both, in my opinion, the greatest of all time in terms of what they did and what they contributed to build what is now a massive enterprise. In terms of the transaction and moving it forward, you know, Vince was the controlling shareholder. He decided it was time to transact. He allowed me to sit side by side with him in the process to hear all of the different pitches. It was a robust marketplace. Endeavor had the best proposal we felt for our shareholders. And here we are with the Netflix deal being announced today, with Dwayne Johnson being added to our board of directors. We feel like it's a great start to what should be a beautiful next chapter at WWE.
Yeah, you guys have done fantastic. And shout out to Kevin Dunn and Vince both. They've been far too kind to me and all my guys.
Yep.
And I can't wait to see them down the road at some point. Netflix, I think whenever it was announced, caught a lot of us, I think, by surprise. You know, Netflix not really known to be in the live entertainment world. I think they've done a couple stand-ups live.
Yep.
I think Chris Rock had one that kind of went. They did some other stuff. Whenever you're at the market, in the marketplace, and obviously Raw has been on the air forever. It generates a number every single week, no weeks off. It is a high-valued asset that WWE has had and currently has. When you go to the marketplace, at what point did you realize Netflix might be a real player? Because we assume, because everything I've heard, you know, ESPN and Disney were potentially involved, Amazon potentially involved. Obviously, Peacock, NBC has been the owner of USA Network of Raw for a long time. At what point is Netflix like, yeah, we're thinking about getting in the game, and like $5 billion is a big jump into the game. When did that all come together, Nick?
Indeed. By the way, Pat, 20 years ago, because keep in mind, Raw has not been on USA for its entire 30-year plus run. 20 years ago, Raw was on the Nashville network, which became the National Network, which became TNN, which became Spike. SmackDown was on UPN. So if you look at the Nashville network and UPN, fast forward 20 years to Netflix and NBCU with USA and Peacock, We think we're in business with two great partners. What we did once the SmackDown deal closed, which will shift SmackDown over from Fox to USA starting this October 1, we focused or hyper-focused on Raw. It was a robust marketplace. We had a number of meetings. There was a lot of interest. There were a number of offers. And at the end of the day, to be the first movers with Netflix live on a consistent basis. So yes, I saw the Chris Rock special too, and the reality show after show, and they're doing the golf pro-am, which is all great programming. But 52 weeks a year, we're turnkey, as you know, you've lived it with us. The fact that they could come to us and say, yeah, we strike a deal and you guys do all the rest is something that they liked, and certainly something that we thought was in our direct wheelhouse. It came together over the matter of a couple of months, and we think it's a great deal.
Congrats, dude. Congrats on getting that done. You know, the USA deal, allegedly $250 million. This one, $500 million a year. What a dog. What an absolute. Look at the grin. Yep. Massive ordeal. Obviously earned by everybody in the WWE. What has been the reaction within the WWE with the people that you've talked to? A couple people, obviously friends of mine still in the business in there, say, hey, big announcement coming tomorrow. Big announcement coming tomorrow. Yesterday. Then when this rolls out, I think a lot of people may be surprised by what has been the reaction. I assume everybody's pumped. It's a massive global deal.
Overwhelmingly positive. And I think, look, if you look at the streaming wars, Netflix has sat at the top of that perch. They continue to sit at the top of that perch. So it's an entity that everybody, certainly in our sphere, has and subscribes to. We think it's a great way to grow the WWE audience while growing the Netflix subscriber base. So overwhelmingly positive reaction from our force of colleagues who really make up the WWE, who all contributed to this deal, to friends and family who are texting me the same.
Yeah, everybody's pumped for you, dude. You see the ringing of the bell? You're standing, hey, you're under the K. You saw it. Yeah, you saw it. You're under the K. Look at you.
Good spot.
Huh?
Listen, as you know, I'm a man of the people. I'm just a public school kid and trying to take it all in. You know the drill.
No, that's why it's so inspirational to watch you dominate, man. Absolutely. And I don't know, your name has been one that has been whispered by folks around business worlds. And whenever I had an opportunity to meet you a couple times, and I think we took a picture one of the first times I met with you, and maybe The Rock was even, it was me, The Rock, and Nick Khan in the photo, I think. And I walked away and people were like, you were in a photo with Nick Khan? And I'm like, yeah, I was also with The Rock. And then the more I learned about you and your story, you're a dog, dude. You're one of the best we have in the United States of America. You need to know that. So from Vince McMahon, one of the greatest American dream stories from a trailer park who was, abused as a kid, turning a company into a multi-billion public conglomerate, to a man that literally Wheel of Fortuned his way into an entire career. It's a beautiful thing over there, Nick. It really is. You should take that in sometime. I know you got a suit on and you got to do your shit, but you did it, dude, legitimately.
It's kind of you to say, and look, just a little bit more about Vince, as you know, very, very rough upbringing, which you just talked about, to be able to hurdle himself to the heights that he got to and that he got all of us to. I'll always have admiration and respect for that. In terms of me, I just come to work every day like everyone else and try to move it forward. So I appreciate all the kind comments.
Yeah, and you put your suit on, put your suit on. Hey, last question for me before the boys have a couple, and obviously they're all big fans, and you've been far too kind. This dude escorted my wife into an arena because she didn't have a ticket or whatever. And then a couple months later, Sam talks to Nick, and she goes, nice to meet you. And Nick goes, I was actually your chauffeur.
No.
President.
This is true. Sam forgot about me.
Yeah.
That's how memorable it was that she forgot about me.
No, that's how low-key you are. Yep. Always just head down, no big deal. I'm going to get out of here. The president of the company is walking through an arena right now. You and I have complimented each other a few times here. And I told you to shut up there earlier whenever you were doing it and get to the answer. But why do you think you and I have been, my record with suits is pretty documented at this point. Publicly, I assume behind the scenes as well. Why do you think you've been able to reach and connect with people? For instance, Ari Emanuel now, part of Endeavor that you are working alongside of, he was the guy. He was the agent. He's the super agent. He's the one in Entourage. And then everybody, the next generation of that was you. Why are you known as the super suit? Why do you get along? Why are you the guy you are, you think? Why is that the case?
It's kind of you to say, look, I would say this to you, Pat. Again, very kind and generous of you to say. I would say that similar to you, I believe I'm a good listener. And in terms of quote unquote talent as it relates to you, It's one of the first things I said to you after we were at a wedding together, randomly 4, 5, 6 years ago, pre-COVID wedding. I don't want to bring up COVID as a subject here.
Yeah, okay, Nick, enough. Enough,
I
Nick.
was talking about the time frame.
Enough, Nick. Jeez. Congrats to the Coonans, by the way.
Yeah.
Beautiful baby.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
David Coonan wedding. We were there, and I remember walking away from that because that was the first substantive in-person conversation I had with you. And I said to myself and others, I said, he's a tremendous listener. And you often don't find that with young folks who have had success and all of that. They want to talk to you about their success. You were not that way. I'd like to think in whatever success I'm perceived to have, I don't do that. Yesterday's yesterday. I start every day. The clock strikes midnight every day for a reason. It means whatever the highs were, whatever the lows were, that day's over, and you got to move it forward.
Okay, well, you've done that phenomenally, and I appreciate what you just said there. You and Hunter, seemingly, Paul, the cerebral assassin.
King of Kings.
The game. You two are seemingly the people that are being talked about as currently directing the ship that is the WWE. Is that accurate? And how has that been now that you two are kind of doing that?
Paul Levesque, the King of Kings, Triple H, he's
Hunter.
the one who introduced me to WWE, Hunter. He's the one who first introduced me. So when I was an agent, my prior profession, and I was trying to get into the WWE business, Paul had called me, unsolicited call, and this is when Tim Tebow had just gotten cut by the Patriots. Paul called me, he said, hey, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Paul Levesque. I said, oh, yeah, Triple H, I know who you are. I remember you as Terra Rising.
Yes,
his
WCW.
former wrestling name from WCW, exactly. I said, I know who you are. He's like, oh, you know WWE? I said, yeah, I know WWE. I grew up a fan. I was an usher at WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace. I said, what's going on? He said, hey, what do you think of Tim Tebow against the Big Show at whatever that WrestleMania was after the Patriots run? And I said, what are you thinking? He offered some financial terms. I called Tim at the time. What do you think? Tim and I had then a top secret private meeting, Tim Tebow, myself, Vince McMahon, Triple H in Anaheim, California, about that. Ultimately, it didn't happen, but Triple H and I remained in touch. And over time, he was the one who said to me, hey, I think Vince may want to meet with you. I think you told me you're going to be in Dallas this weekend. Dallas was where Raw was. I think you told me you're going to be in Dallas. That's good that you're going to be there, because if I told Vince you were flying in for the meeting, he'd say, don't do it. I may have to cancel. It's Raw, it's Raw, it's Raw. But I know you're going to be there. So plan on meeting with Vince. I went the night before because, of course, you don't want to go day of and be late and this and that. Nobody wants to hear the, hey, my flight was delayed nonsense. So I went. I sat in a hotel room. Paul called me. He said, Vince is ready to meet. I went to Vince's office, met with him. I pitched what I had to say. And we shook hands on a deal, and here we are.
I love that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you're already going to be there, right? Yeah. Yep, going to be there. Yep, going to be in Dallas. You live in L.A. full time, but need you tomorrow in Dallas. Need you to do this. How about Vince, dealing with Vince? What a wild thing. It's awesome. I've talked about this before, and you tell me if you feel the same way. So humans, much like dogs, can sense how you're acting towards them. So, like, if you go into a room with a dog that has actual canines and you act scared, that dog is going to treat you like a little bitch. That is how that dog is going to treat for the rest of the time that you're in that house. But if you present yourself confidently and comfortably, the dog will act the same way in a court. I think there's some humans that are like that. I think there is humans that are at the top of the food chain and have been business-wise and are very sharp and smart and calloused and have been there, that if you they can sense fear almost. And I feel if you go in confident and comfortable, that sets the tone for the whole conversation. I assume you feel the same way. And I did that with Vince one time. And boy, I'd never been more scared in my life inside. Outside, oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's just Vince McMahon, no problem at all. What up, Vince? Handshake, smack in the middle. He went back, big laugh. I'm like, all right, I think I got him, even though I was shitting my pants inside. I assume it was different for you with Vince. But how was that relationship day one on? Was it great? And how much do you talk to him now?
By the way, if I remember correctly, there was a moment in time where you were looking around for your show, what you wanted the home of it to be. Yeah. There were a number of different suitors. I believe you sent Vince and I both a text saying, hey, this one enterprise, they're not responding quickly enough. I want to tell them to F off, something to this effect. Yeah. And do you recall what Vince's response to you was?
Don't, Pat. He said, don't. He said, say it in here. Don't actually say it out here. You say it inside. You don't say it outside. I'm like, but they need to hear it. In here. Yeah, that was his big response. It was awesome. It was awesome.
I remember it. It was amazing. And look, here's what I found with Vince. In a private setting, if said respectfully, you can say anything you want to him. You can disagree with any point of view. And the folks who have succeeded tremendously at WWE, Kevin Dunn, I'm not talking about our in-ring superstars. I'm talking about the executives on the outside. Kevin Dunn, Paul Levesque, many, many others. They all had that trait where you understood this is the boss. He was the controlling shareholder, the founder of the company, this and that. So you're not going to call him out in a room of people if you disagree with something. You're not going to be rude. He's polite by nature, as you know.
Agreed.
He prefers to be polite, but he's certainly comfortable if it has to go a different route. So what I found with Vince was I could say anything to him directly in person as long as it was in a respectful way, and he'd always hear it, and oftentimes he'd agree with it. In terms of how often I'm in touch with him, I just saw him today at the New York Stock Exchange. He looks amazing. He's still buff as can be, fit, suited up, and ready to go.
Does he have that mustache still?
He has the mustache, but as I said this previously, I said it to you. If you look at Vince McMahon, Dwayne Johnson, Paul Levesque, Ari Emanuel, they have a combined body fat of like 1%. So it's not for me to comment on anyone's physicality. If Vince is on the right to look however he wants.
Hey, that front row has like 6% body fat combined. Right underneath the K. Yeah, I'm okay with sandwich. I don't know, you guys, your taste buds might not be as good as mine. Mine enjoy pretty good taste.
You look very lean and ripped, though, dude. I will tell you that. I know. After the baby, when the baby came, it's always tricky, and no one, the attention should not be on the dad for any reason. But I remember you told me, you're like, hey, dude, I got to get back in shape here, and you did it.
Thank you. I was dancing with like 300 pounds there. You know what I mean? I was getting way fat. And then now the football season is winding down. This is the best shape I've ever been in at the end of a season, which is for sure. Normally season kills us, which is you guys 52 weeks a year. What are we even talking about? Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Nick, obviously Royal Rumble right around the corner and then WrestleMania not too far off. I think for a lot of casual fans who might not watch Raw every single week, but they will always find the premium live events and make sure that they don't miss out on that. Was there any discussion with Netflix about those being housed on Netflix as well, or where will the premium live events kind of be housed for the near future here?
Well, first of all, you guys coming to WrestleMania in Philly, April 6th and 7th?
I got the email from your office today, right? Remember I read it to the boys?
That's right.
Yeah, we're in. The link? Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Sure.
Philly cheesesteaks?
It'll be great.
A couple of Johns everywhere. Oh, the Johns. Can't wait.
It'll be great. Look, our current partner in the United States on all the premium live events like WrestleMania is Peacock and NBCU. They've been tremendous partners. This deal with Netflix is for the premium live events outside of the United States, excluding certain territories where we have existing deals, like India, for example. But it's Raw globally. Again, a few exceptions there. But it's really a global enterprise with Netflix that should build to something even greater.
There's so many people in India.
So many.
Right, that's what I've been told. Go ahead.
WWE is the second most popular sport in India. And yes, I understand we're not a pure sport, sports entertainment. After cricket, you got it. It's WWE. Our partners there, Sony India, they've been tremendous. They're going through a merger that may or may not happen and all of these things. We'll see how that shakes out.
So you're dealing with all that every single day? Oh, we got Sony in India,
right.
We got Netflix here, UK, Latin America's got this. That's every day of your life?
Listen, it's the job. I also deal with friends who can run hot at times, where if something on their show is going awry and they may hit me, I always want to have time for that too. I'm not referring to anyone here. I'm just saying in general.
There's been a lot of, this guy? How do I, last question here, Nick, from Darius. And this one, hey, put it on the plate of things that you knew were going to come right down the pipe.
Yeah, big question. 80s baby here, first of all, product of the Attitude Era, greatest era in wrestling ever. But maybe a stupid question. With this big move to Netflix, congrats again. Is it Raw still going to be on Mondays? Is it going to be Monday Night Raw as we've known it, or is it going to be different days? What was that conversation like? And looking forward to this answer.
Yeah, we all are.
At this moment in time, it remains Monday Night Raw. But keep in mind, we got 10 and a half months until this deal's up and running. So we're looking at what you're looking at and what everyone else is looking at. You have the proliferation of gambling with Monday Night Football. You have an enhanced Disney package, better games, all credit to Jimmy Pitaro, the Bob Father, as Pat, you and I call him. You coined that term, Bob Iger, and all the other good folks at Disney. You got the Manning cast. You got this year, it was on ABC and ESPN, Monday Night Football. You got last season, the playoff game that they got, I believe, was Tom Brady at the Cowboys, or the season before, whatever that was. You also have the College National Championship, football and hoops on Mondays. So you got a lot of Mondays where there's stiff competition. That said, even against Alabama, Michigan, and the Washington, Texas game a few weeks ago, Monday Night Raw did a 0.6 in the 18-49 demo, which is a massive rating against big competition.
Yeah.
If we stay on Mondays, it'll work. If we move it to a different day, we think it'll work too.
Such a baby-faced promo right there.
Yeah.
Listen, here's all these other things. You hear these stats? Also, just still at a 0.6 if you need to hear it. I'm excited that you're taking all that into consideration, obviously, as football people that have a football show. So we're also massive WWE fans. I've said it numerous times. The only thing I watched growing up was literally football and wrestling, WWE. So to be a part of your world every once in a while, with how kind you guys have been to me, very grateful. Thank you for making time today. Congrats on all the success.
And by the way, I just want to say this, coming out of the last month or so of the Pat McAfee Show, you guys have only been tremendous partners to us. You are easy to work with. So anytime I hear, I don't know, maybe it's not so easy, I find all of you guys incredibly easy, and we're grateful for that.
Well, you're a talent. That's why. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Kahn. Thank you, pal. Yeah, he's a hilarious human being for me. There was a time whenever I was shopping the show where I had Vince McMahon and Nick Kahn in a group text. And that's quite a weapon to have.
Couple power players.
That would help.
Yeah, people were like, what agent did the deal? It was like, well, I did the deal. But with that being said, also, there was a few conversations that were certainly talked through.
A couple
with
advisors.
Some of the smartest humans to ever do business in the history. Yeah, there was a couple times where, and I'm assuming the suits that were just watching that conversation, because the suits are going to watch that suit talk, just like how the suits will watch Bob Father talk.
Those things.
And they would watch, Ari Emanuel talk. That's what the suits do, So there's a couple suits right now that are watching that are thinking to themselves, oh, I was the person in that. You were probably. It happened numerous times. I mean, that is how it all went. He, the way he just can handle anything. All good is kind of his phrase. Anybody that's ever worked. He was an agent, never repped me. I was towards the tail end of his agency, but we knew each other when he was at CAA because we were repped by Coonan and Michael Klein there for a bit. I'm a tough sell, so not good to have an agent, imagine somebody else trying to talk. That's just not possible.
No.
So I was in that world. Nick Kahn had heard about me through them, a couple of the things that I've said, and it made its way to him, and I think he had massive respect for it. And then all of a sudden, we just started talking on a regular basis, and then he becomes the president of the WWE. I had been at the WWE already for a couple years before then. So it's just I'm very lucky to call that man a friend. And also, incredible job, too.
Yeah. Crush.
Incredible job.
Dominating.
$5 billion.
250 to 500.
Yeah.
That'll get it done.
And I think he called his shot, too, and a lot of people were telling him that he was obviously out of his mind. But, anybody that watches WWE understands, 52 weeks a year.
Yeah.
And not every show is going to be packed full of just home runs. But you're going to get hour and a half to 2 hours of entertainment every single Monday, if it does move. And on Friday, you're going to get an hour and 15 to an hour and 20 minutes, guaranteed every single week. It's like networks and platforms just probably could not wait to dive into that thing.
Looking for that.
That's why having a 5-day-a-week, 3.5-hour program that is a little bit below average, it stinks, is a lot better than not having one of those.
Right. Exactly.
How about your question about Mondays? That's going to be
Big night.
That's going to be the conversation.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that'll be the conversation with a potential Tebow Big Show match.
Dude,
that was going to happen. Are you kidding
Can you
me?
imagine a Tebow chop?
A holy chop.
Oh, my God.
He blesses Big Show and then chops the shit out
I wonder
of
what
him.
it was. I do wonder what it was with Tim. And Tim, by the way, that Nick doesn't say anything for no reason.
Yeah.
He just said that because, Tim, he's not playing for the Mets anymore.
Nope.
He's not playing football anymore. Still in phenomenal shape.
Sure. Yeah.
Still Tim Tebow. That's not just,
No.
oh, there was this one time, because that's going to get sent to Tim.
Yeah.
And then his friends are going to say, you were almost
You know what? Maybe I should.
Big Show.
the Big Show. Imagine him taking that choke slam from the Big Show.
Tebow.
Oh,
I thought you were
God.
talking about Tebow choke.
That's
slam
what I
with
was
the Big
thinking
Show.
too.
Okay.